Hey, what's cracking YouTube? Welcome back to Computer Games Hardware. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the video. How you all doing? Hope you're doing well. Today I wanted to talk about some computer game hardware news, and we've got a good one for you today. We've got a couple of some gaming news stories, a couple of hardware related stories. So without further ado, let's get stuck into it. Okay, so first up, let's talk about Diablo 4. The 1.1.1 update was just recently released, and it had a number of class updates, particularly for the Sorcerer and Barbarian. In those updates, there were a couple of fixes. For the Sorcerer, it improved the late game survivability. For most Paragon and board improvements, there were some adjustments to the class mechanics to move away from kiss curse effects. This is where the player gains power but loses power somewhere else. And the Barbarian had the speed up and flow of combat in the early game by increasing fury generation on basic skills, and also added late game excited by increasing the power of unique items. It also strengthened the builds that aren't reaching high power levels, and to diversify the cases for legendary items and other effects that were overly situational. Okay, so that's improved the balance for the classes. So hopefully the folks who are playing with the Sorcerer and Barbarian classes get a little bit more out of the gameplay. I just started playing Diablo 4, and I gotta say I am really enjoying it at the moment. I haven't had some of the issues with the classes and things like that, but that's because I'm relatively new to Diablo, so I just dabbled in the original game. In the games, I have had my fair share of issues with the game, so it was completely unplayable for a couple of weeks there. I was really suffering from that RAM leak issue, which seems to have been patched out for me. I can first I could only play for probably about half an hour before the game would crash completely. Then throughout some hot fixes, it got a little bit better. I turned off high texture streaming and could play for a little bit longer, but now I've turned it back on and I can have some extended gaming sessions and things like that. So I've been really enjoying it. It was pretty disappointing to have those issues straight up, particularly being a new player to the Diablo series. So really wanting to get into it, and just having these crashes and things was not a good look, but they've patched it out and they're doing a pretty good job of updating it, so much so that we're already getting update 1.1.2 very soon, and they've also forward announced the Diablo 4 developers have also forward announced patch 1.3 that's coming in a couple of weeks. So they're maintaining the communication with the player base. They're addressing the issues that a lot of the player bases had. I've been really enjoying it. Let me know what you guys think. Have any of you guys played Diablo 4? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so tech Twitter has been going off its head lately with rumors that AMD have cancelled Navi 41 and Navi 42 GPU series, so that they won't be competing in the high end in the next generation of GPUs. So rumors through tech Twitters from high profile leakers have caused Paul from Red Gaming Tech to release some rumors that were further investigated by videocards.com that AMD has decided not to compete in the high end in the next generation of GPUs by cancelling Navi 41 and Navi 42. So this is huge news, and I want to just get stuck into what this means for the next generation of GPUs. Some of you might remember that AMD had a massive roadmap for its RDNA series of GPUs, starting with the 5000 series that was released in 2019. I believe it was. Then it had RDNA 2 with the 6000 series, RDNA 3 with the 7000 series, and then it had RDNA 4 set to be released, and showing off the performance increase for those. Well, it looks like that's not going to come to pass because AMD is scrapping Navi 41 and Navi 42, meaning that they won't be competing in the high end with NVIDIA in the next generations of GPUs. So that's sounds pretty disappointing. I'm not so sure this is a bad move from AMD. They're probably they're probably hitting the right notes here. If I think they're gonna do what they're gonna do is AMD used to have this sort of what do you call it? Sort of knack for under promising and over delivering. So they're really good at doing that with their Ryzen CPU series. So they're really modest about the performance gains of the Ryzen CPUs in each generations, and mostly we've been pleasantly surprised with the performance gains on the Ryzen CPUs. With the original RDNA series, they didn't really compete in the high end with NVIDIA. So you'll remember the 5700 series of GPUs. They were modest performance. I had the Radeon 7 and things like that, which came a bit later, but they weren't competing in the high end at all. Then the RDNA 2 hit, and it was a big success. So they got some really good performance out of RDNA 2, and they were able to come close but not beat NVIDIA in the high end. But it was successful enough to be to say, hey, here we are, we're competing, we're at the high end. Then I think, I'm not sure what happened with RDNA 3, but the performance clearly wasn't as strong as AMD and Radeon had hoped. So they did a weird naming scheme with the 7800 XTX and the 7800 XT to sort of say, here are big boy GPUs, and they clearly didn't compete with the 4090 or the 4080. They've been a little bit of a letdown. Look, I think that they're still pretty good on GPUs. The argument can be made that the NVIDIA's dies are much smaller and getting far better performance than the RDNA GPUs, the AMD GPUs, but still they perform pretty well. They would have been even better if they just called the XTX the 7900 XT, and then the 7900 XT, the 7800 XT, similar to the 6000 series. Then you would have had modest performance and value for money. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to squeeze every last dollar out of the high end for this current series of GPUs, and I think it's hurt them a little bit. So I think what they're planning on doing is going back to that method of under promising and over delivering, and releasing some cards that are comparable to quote unquote XTX level of performance for an XT like, which is the same as the previous generation in the 6000 series, but who knows? Maybe they haven't got the performance they're looking for. So it'll be interesting to see what the roadmap is. The original roadmap, I think it was like RDNA. RDNA 2 was supposed to be like 2 times the performance. RDNA 3 was probably supposed to be 3 times the performance. And I think that's where they've got the problem. They haven't got 3 times the performance from RDNA out of RDNA 3. So they're not going to get 4 times the performance out of RDNA 4. So they're probably being a little bit modest. I hope it's not a massive issue and they are just not releasing any enthusiast level GPUs. So the big question for me with RDNA 4 is, what is it that AMD are referring to when they talk about enthusiast class? So are they talking about the 900 series? Are they talking about the 800 series? Or are they going as far down low as the 7 or 600 series? So will we only be seeing 8700 XTs or 8700s? I don't know. Are we getting a 8800 XT? That would be the upper mid-range for me, but time will tell. Maybe they're cutting that all together. We're a bit light on details of what that means, so I hope they're not cutting out too many classes of GPUs, and hopefully they've got the performance to offer a whole range of mid-range cards. I hope they don't go super low for the sake of being super low, but they're still providing some performance, because performance gains lead to innovation, and that's what we want to see. And what we really don't want is NVIDIA to be unmatched at all, because that's just not good for consumers. It's not good for GPU prices. And then with AI becoming more focused by NVIDIA, AMD pulling out of the enthusiast range of GPUs, it leaves enthusiasts in a tough spot. So hopefully we still get a good range of cards at a reasonable price with really good performance. We'll see. All speculation at the moment. Some say that they were considering competing at the high end and they decided to pull back to focus on good performance at a better price point. Others claim that it's been scrapped altogether. So who really knows? Take all that stuff with a grain of salt. Go visit Paul at Red Gaming Tech. He's got the scoop on all those things. I don't know how true all those sources and things are, but hopefully if AMD are doing this, that the next series of Radeon GPUs will focus on better price to performance, because I think that's what people are looking at. The mid-range in the AMD products have been absolutely abysmal in this generation, and I think that Radeon have been taken to task on it. AMD perform their best when they're providing their consumers with value for money and getting what they need. So hopefully that's what they are focusing their attention on, and this isn't just a fab node issue, or they haven't got the performance that they wanted out of this these new dies. So we'll see. Time will tell. Maybe they're trying to do something more experimental. Who knows? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Alright, for all you COD players out there, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is being released on November 10 from Sledgehammer Games. So, for you million or so PS5 players that exclusively play Call of Duty and nothing else with your PS5, you've got a new game to look forward to on November 10th when Activision release Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. So, as I said, this one is being produced by Sledgehammer Games and not Infinity Ward, which traditionally have been the developers of the Modern Warfare series. So, not sure how that's going to go over with most COD players. I know that there are some people that are Infinity Ward or nothing on their COD games, so that's going to be interesting to see. Now, it's likely, and what I think is that Infinity Ward are probably working on something else. They're probably working on the next generation of Call of Duty games. So they've asked Sledgehammer Games to step in and complete the story arc for the Modern Warfare series. Now, I am I'm not a huge believer in that. If it's Infinity Ward, it's not going to be good because or it's going to be bad if it's not Infinity Ward. Sorry. Sledgehammer Games have made plenty of competent Call of Duty titles, so I'm sure that the level of quality is going to be there. What will be interesting to see is if they have the different types of modes that are traditionally available in things like Treyarch has the zombies and things like that in their titles with things like that. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of modes come with the new Modern Warfare 3. Curious that their Sledgehammer Games are releasing it. I wonder what Infinity Ward up to. Are you going to get it? I've been a little bit hot and cold on Call of Duty lately. Everything's been a little bit meh. And not because the titles have been bad. You know, there's a standard of quality that you get. If you're purchasing a Call of Duty game, you know it's highly replayable. You've got multiplayer. You get a campaign, so it aims to please everyone. And the Modern Warfare campaigns have been pretty good over the last couple of years. So the story has been compelling. What's going to be really compelling with the new Modern Warfare title is the Makarov storyline, which has the the name escapes me of the level, but you all know the one that I'm talking about. It's called No Russian. So the No Russian airport level is being teased with Makarov as the main villain in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. So that might get people to buy the title in and of itself. So it will be interesting to see where they take that storyline. I believe in the last two titles they have been building up to the Makarov reveal, quote unquote. Whatever that is. So that'll be quite interesting to see if they go with a no Russian level. Are they going to make it more intense? Are they going to tone it down a little bit? Whoever knows, but you haven't got long to wait for that title. That's coming on November 10th, so look out for it then. For all you Ratchet and Clank players out there on Radeon GPUs, Insomniac Games have updated a patch for Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart that adds ray tracing to support for Radeon GPUs. So if you've got the game, update it so you Radeon players can flick on ray tracing for that title, which had been turned off on Radeon GPUs because there was some issues with it. So that's been fixed now. Look out for that. I'm told that in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart there is a real, tangible, noticeable difference in the visual fidelity when you turn ray tracing on. So if you can take the hit and you want the best possible visuals in the game, apparently it's really worth it. So look out for that. It's a pity that it wasn't available at launch, and it's a bit disappointing that it took them so long to release a patch for it. Most people have probably played through it by now, particularly with the amount of games that have come out in the last couple of weeks. We've just had abundance of riches. Everything that comes out has been fantastic in 2023. So a bit disappointing that they didn't get that out earlier. So people who bought the game on launch could have a really good experience. But it's been patched now, so recommend you check it out. I've played through it, so I'm probably not going to go back and look at it. But if you haven't and you've been hanging out for this ray tracing support, let me know if it looks better than it did without the ray tracing turned on. Anyway, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you so much for all the support that you've provided me over the last couple of videos. It's just been massive, so thank you very much. Again, I'll keep making them if you keep watching them, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. See you next time.